Hello everyone, my name is Brennan Childs and I'm a pianist here on YouTube. The day has finally arrived. I am going to be showing you a very simple breakdown of the song Yebba's Heartbreak, which is by Drake and Yebba. This song took me forever to learn. I think because I don't use sheet music for one thing, so I was learning it by ear. I'm going to tell you there's a lot of chord changes and rhythm. I really did my best with this video to make it as easy as I can for you guys, and it definitely took a lot of work, so I really hope that you enjoy this video. Before we get started, I do want to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It does help me out a ton as a YouTube creator. It also helps you guys out because then you don't miss out on any of my future tutorials. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and play the arrangement in full without vocals that you'll be learning today. So in the right hand, you're going to start on your pinky here on B, pointer finger on F sharp, and thumb on D sharp. So middle C is right here. So you're right above middle C. So it starts off playing all three at the same time. Then with your fourth finger, you hit B flat. So it's... Now you jump down immediately to thumb on B flat, pointer finger C sharp, pinky F sharp. So to go over it, it's... Okay, when you play this one, you repeat it a second time. Then we move our fourth finger to E and keep the other two the same. So you're playing B flat, C sharp, and E. So it's... Then you move down one more key to D sharp. See what I mean about all these chords? Oh my gosh. Okay, then it goes to thumb on G sharp, pointer finger B flat, pinky D sharp. So just to recap that little part, it's... Then you jump up, both thumb and pinky hit D sharp. Then you go G sharp, pinky and thumb, B flat. Okay, so then when you get to this right hand part, you do a roll first with thumb on E, pointer finger G sharp, and third finger on B, and you go. Okay, then you keep all three of those the same, and you add in this C sharp with your fourth finger. Then you jump up to thumb on a B, pointer finger C sharp, and middle finger E. So that's... So I'm going to roll through this right hand here from the top. going to get into the left hand here. You're going to do E with your pinky and B with your thumb. Then you jump down to pinky and thumb on F sharp. And you're going to do this thing throughout the song. You'll notice it in the left hand where you're kind of going back and forth like this and adding a bunch of rhythm. I'm going to go into that a little bit more later, but just know you're going to go back and forth here. And do the same thing, move down to F with your thumb and pinky. Rhythm. Then you go up to B with your thumb and pinky. Okay, and that's basically all in the left hand for this first section. So we're going to go ahead and put both hands together here. So starting with this formation in the right hand, right? First thing, you're going to play at the same time as this in the left hand. So together, both hands. Now, when we move to this one, that's when we move to the F sharp. Okay, see how I was adding a bunch of little random rhythms in between? Okay, now we move to this formation of G sharp, B flat, and D sharp. That's when we move to the F in the left hand. So see, I'm just playing that little F key. Now we move up to B when you're ready to do this roll here. So I'm going to go through it nice and slow without talking from the top. One thing I will say about the rhythms in left hand is it's not exact and it changes a lot throughout the song. So I may play it differently here and then play it different later in the video. So I don't want you to stress too much with yourself if you're not doing the exact rhythm that I'm doing. It's just kind of think of it as like adding a little bit of filler to the song. Instead of just playing the chords, right? You're adding a little. In the right hand, and it kind of flows with the chords. So just think of it that way. If it is too much trouble to remember, you can just hold out those keys. You don't have to play it how it is in the song. So now we're moving on to section 2 in the right hand. So you do a little series of a lot of keys, starting with your thumb on E, up to 4th finger, G sharp, down to F sharp, down to D sharp, down to B flat. So it's, try that with me. Then you go G sharp, D sharp, and then you do a little roll down here with your thumb on D sharp, G sharp, C. So that's one more time. Okay, and then in the right hand on this part, all you're gonna do is F sharp, then hit this one a second time, and then you move down to pinky on C and thumb on G sharp together at the same time. So all together it's. So let's put both hands together in this part. Now when we do the roll is when we do the C and G sharp. So just to go over that again, it's F sharp, okay, then we move down here. Our right hand is going to play G sharp, B, and D sharp, and our left hand is going to do E with our pinky and E with our thumb. Then, in the right hand, we're going to still hold all these keys down, but our thumb is going to take over here on the E. So So see how my thumb is doing that? I keep all these keys the same, I'm just moving around my fingers. And then our thumb is gonna go down here to C sharp. So that's D sharp, B, G sharp, E, and then C sharp. So it's, so first you had next, then you move up to thumb on G sharp and pinky on G sharp in the left hand, and then your thumb hits B and your pointer finger hits D sharp. Now we go back to a similar part where we hit G sharp, D sharp, and then instead of earlier we were playing this, we move it down a key. We're playing C and F sharp. And then we do the roll. The roll is what you did earlier, D sharp, G sharp, C. So let's recap this here. This chord. Keep all the keys the same, move down to C sharp. Move up to this one. New roll with this key. Now we're going to move on to a little bit of a tricky section. Just bear with me here. In the left hand, you're going to have your thumb and pinky here on E. And in the right hand, you're going to have G sharp, B, and D sharp. So you're going to go, and I add a little bit of rhythm here in the left hand, so just hit it once. Now I go up to this chord, so pinky on F sharp, thumb on F sharp, and then we're doing pointer finger B flat and pinky D sharp. And I add a little rhythm. So it's okay. So see, I sometimes add a little rhythm in the right hand too. So it's alright, so I'm repeating that. Now I go to F sharp, G sharp, and now we do a new chord. Our thumb and pinky go to C sharp in the left hand, and our thumb in the right hand goes E, pointer finger, G sharp, third finger, B, pinky, D sharp. So it's, and I do a little roll too. A lot of this song is about the feeling and the vibe, so that's what all these little rolls and rhythms do. Just to recap, okay, now we quickly jump up to, in our right hand, thumb on B and pointer finger on D sharp, and then our pinky and our thumb in the left hand hit G sharp. Now we quickly move to this one. So that's pinky and thumb in the left hand hitting that F sharp, and then we're hitting these three black keys here in the right hand. Thumb on a B flat, pointer finger C sharp, and middle finger D sharp. So you're going from this one. Try and memorize the position of your hands. And again, it's a practice thing. So the more that you practice this song, it may seem impossible at first, which is what I thought, but if you just continue, it will get much easier and you're kind of just memorize this. So it's, now we go back to the very first one that we did, pinky and thumb here on E. We have thumb on G, pointer finger at B, fourth finger D sharp. So it's, next we move up to a second one that we did, it's exactly the same. Thumb and pinky on F sharp, and then you're playing the B flat and the D sharp in the right hand. Now you move your thumb and your pinky up one key to G sharp, and then you move your thumb and third finger to B and D sharp. Okay, now this next one is a new one. You move your thumb and pinky down to F, and then you hit these keys in the right hand. G, B flat, D sharp. So it's, again, this is tricky to memorize. Just bear with me here. Then you go up to G sharp with your pinky and thumb in the left hand, And then in the right hand, you have B with your thumb, third finger, D sharp. So you go, then you move down your thumb in the right hand to B flat, and then your pinky and thumb in the left hand to F sharp. Then you move down to this one that you did earlier, thumb and pinky on F, and then you do thumb on G sharp, B flat, and D sharp in the right hand. Then you move down to pinky and thumb here on E in the left hand, and then thumb on G sharp and middle finger on B. Okay, almost done here with this section. Once we go through it, it'll be a lot easier to memorize, but right now I'm just teaching you the formations basically. So then you go back to this one. So that's G sharp with your pinky and thumb in the left hand, and B flat and D sharp with your right hand. So that's down to this one, same as earlier. That's F sharp in the left hand, and then B flat and D sharp in the right hand. Now this part changes. We then jump down to C with our pinky and thumb, and then we add in this key. So earlier we were playing these two, now we add in a G sharp. So it's G sharp, B flat, D sharp. So we're adding a little rhythm there. Play it together, separate. Now, then we jump high up here in our right hand to E, D sharp, C sharp, G sharp, while we're repeating this C in the right hand. So it's and then we get onto the next section. Okay, so like I said, this is one of the very tricky parts. So what I'm gonna do is, without talking, very slowly play the whole section so that you can repeat it over and over and over and eventually memorize it. So here we go, everything I just taught in this section from the top. Okay, so full speed, that section would sound like this. Notice how I'm adding in those little rhythm and color notes. Like I said, you don't have to do that. You can just play the simple chords, but if you want to add a little jazz and sound exactly kind of like the original, then that's what they do in the song. They're adding just little fillers. And the more you practice it, once you get those basic chords down, then you can add in all the fillers later. So that's how I'm teaching it, and that's how I recommend you go about it, because when I was learning it, first I started with the basic chords. Then once I got that memorized, got more comfortable with it, then I added in the little. Now we're gonna get into the next half of the song. So in the right hand, you play where you ended at in the last section, this G sharp with your thumb and this G sharp with your pinky. So you do that a second time, hold it out, and then you go up to pointer finger on D sharp, G sharp, F sharp, G sharp, D sharp. So that's. Then it goes C sharp, D sharp, back to the roll with your thumb on D sharp, pointer finger on G sharp, and pinky on C. So that whole section, we go through it slowly. Okay, then we go up to thumb on G sharp and third finger on D sharp, and we go. Then you just move that third finger up to E. Then you go F sharp, C sharp, down to this chord, thumb on E, pointer finger, G sharp, pinky, D sharp. So just to go over that. Then we hit E again with our thumb. Then you go F sharp, D sharp, and then you do these three together, F sharp, B flat, and C sharp. You do F sharp again, and then you go down to thumb on D sharp, pointer finger, G sharp, third finger, B. And you kind of stay on this one for a little bit. So we're gonna go through that without me talking. I'm gonna play through this whole section nice and slow. Okay, so after you do that, now you move this pinky here to D sharp and keep the other two keys the same. So that's D sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. So back and forth between those keys. So we're doing the top two, bottom one. Again, that's just adding some filler and some rhythm to the song. Okay. So all together, that section in the right hand, I'm going to play through it here. Then we do a little riff in the right hand. We go up to G sharp, F sharp, E, D sharp. So the rhythm is. Then we jump down here to pinky on B flat, pointer finger on F sharp, and thumb on D sharp. And you're gonna go with the top two and the bottom one, back and forth for a bit. Then you go up to thumb on B, C sharp, D sharp. Then you jump down to this chord here, thumb on D sharp, pointer finger F sharp, and pinky on B flat. We do another little riff in the right hand. So we do our thumb on D sharp, F sharp, B flat, C sharp, and then we do the little roll of our thumb on D sharp, pointer finger G sharp, pinky on C. So that riff is, one more time. Then you go back and forth between D sharp and C sharp. Then up to E, D sharp, twice. So that's. Then we move up to G sharp, F sharp, D sharp. Okay, so I'm gonna play through that whole right hand part without talking so you can see how it goes. In the left hand, we start with thumb and pinky on E, up to F sharp, up to G sharp, and then we do pinky on C and thumb on G sharp. And again, you can add in a little bit of rhythm and fill to this, so. Then we go back to E with our thumb and pinky, down to D sharp, then up to G sharp. Then we move our pinky again up to C and G sharp. Okay, so that left hand, just to recap from the top, is Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put both hands together nice and slow for this first little half of the section. Okay, so a little bit tricky, but I forgot to mention this chord earlier. So it's E, D sharp, C sharp, G sharp, boom, to this chord. Thumb on G sharp, pointer finger B, and pinky on D sharp. So it's. Okay, so here we go, starting at both hands together, carrying off on the last section. Okay, now we move up to E when we're hitting this chord in the right hand. And again, you can add a little rhythm. Now, when we jump up here is when we move our pinky and thumb to F sharp. Second D sharp is when we move up to the G sharp. And then when we do the roll is when we do these two. Then we're staying on this chord. And the right hand plays. Okay, now when we do the roll here is when we move down to E in our left hand. Okay, now we move to here is when we move down to D sharp. Now, when we move up to G sharp is when we move to this in the right hand. Now, when we move that pinky up is when we move our C up in the left hand. Okay, now we get on to the next part. In the right hand, right, when we go to this D sharp is when we move down to E again. Now, we do that little walk in the right hand, and you actually do the same thing in the left hand. You have your pinky on D sharp, middle finger, F sharp, and thumb on B flat, and it goes. So you're just like going back and forth in the left hand. So it's going this one, then this twice. Repeat at the same time as this. So then we jump up to our thumb on B while this still is continuing on the 2. Okay. Now, when we move to D sharp, we go back to this E here. Jump down in the right hand to D sharp, F sharp, B flat, remember that chord? Well, now we move up to F sharp in the left hand. Then we do the little riff. Back to this chord. So that's C with our pinky and thumb with G sharp at the same time as the roll. Up here to this part. Now we get on to a new left hand part. You're gonna have pinky on A, E, A, cross over C sharp, back and forth between C sharp and E. Then you go F, go E, G sharp, and B, but you're playing this together. So it's a little bit tricky just playing that on its own, so I'm going to show you with both hands together like I just did on the last section. When we hit this second C sharp is when we come in on the A. Okay, so that's a little bit tricky. Let's do it slower. Together. So after that da da is when we move to the F. Now we're not playing anything in the right hand of that. We're just holding out this D sharp. So it's, now we go. So that D sharp is at the same time as the E, G sharp, and B in the left hand. Okay, so just to recap, I'm going to play that without talking, slow. Okay, so let's do a slow recap of this entire second half of both hands that we've learned so far. So first I'm going to just play the chords without adding in the little rhythms that I've been talking about, just so you can hear very precisely what you should be playing. And then I'm going to run through it with adding a little rhythm so you can hear the difference between the two. Again, a lot of my tutorials are based off of hearing and memorizing the piece rather than sheet music. So this is just the easiest way that I think I'm able to teach the song. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to play with a little rhythm and filler just so you can hear how I do that. So now we get to kind of the tail end of the song. So in the right hand, you're gonna have this little loop, and I'm gonna show you before I teach it. Okay, so it's going to start off on D sharp, C sharp, B, B flat, and then you roll into this chord, which is thumb on B, D sharp, G sharp. So that's hit the B again. Now we move to a next chord. So that's our thumb on B flat, pointer finger C sharp, pinky F sharp. Then we go E now. So earlier we're playing D sharp, now we're playing E, D sharp, C sharp, B, and then we land on this chord, which is thumb on D sharp, pointer finger F sharp, and fourth finger B flat. So we're continuing on that for a few times. Now we go back and the loop starts all over. D sharp, roll to this one, this chord, loop starts over. So it's a little tricky to get the hang of. Again, I'm going to play it without talking. That continues for about 4 times, the full loop. Okay, so then in the left hand, so you have your thumb and pinky are in E, repeat the top one for a little rhythm, up to F sharp, repeat the top one. Then you do a little walk down at the same time in the right hand, but in the left hand you do thumb on B, B flat, G sharp. Then you jump down to quickly to D sharp. For a while, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts over. Exactly the same loop. Okay, so now we're going to put both hands together for this section. So at the very beginning, you're not playing anything in the left hand, it just starts in the right hand. And then now you come in the left hand here on E, right at the roll. So it's, here we go. Now when we move here, we move up to F sharp. And then we jump quickly up to B at the same time as our E. So these first 3 are played exactly at the same time. Now remember, you have an extra one on the left hand. Then we move down to D sharp, stay on that left hand, loop starts over. So I'm going to show you now without talking. Starts over. See, I'm adding some rhythm. I'm adding little rolls and things. Starts over. And that's basically it. And you continue that until it fades out. You do it about 4 times, and then that's the end of the song. Also, I will say that the more you practice the song, the easier it gets. It definitely was very, very hard for me to learn at first because that's just the way this song is. It's a lot of chord changes and movements and rhythms. It definitely sounds a lot easier than it actually is. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're not getting it at first. Alright guys, and there you have it. That is the entire piano tutorial for Yebba's Heartbreak. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, definitely consider subscribing to my channel, as it really does help me out a lot here on YouTube. And it also helps you guys out because then you don't miss out on any of my future content. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to create art, and I'll see you guys next time.